It's your boy Buggy Ocran, and you're here for the first episode of In the Mix. Today I'll be showing you 3 tips about the most important tools when mixing your song. That's volume, panning, and EQ. And I'm going to show you how you can use this in your song to get the best results. So let's go in the mix. So a good way to improve your mixes is to change the way you listen to music. A lot of people tend to listen to music from a two-dimensional aspect, from right speaker, left speaker, and the middle. But to improve your mixes, you need to think about music from a three-dimensional aspect. The right speaker, the left speaker, the top, the bottom, the front, the middle, and the back. Imagine yourself being on a stage in an auditorium filled with people and trying to seat a crowd full of people in the seats. You're not going to put everyone in one specific seat. You're going to put some people to the right. You're going to sit some people to the left. You're going to sit some people in the front. You're going to sit some people in the back. You're also going to sit some people at the top balcony, the right, and the front left balcony. The same thing goes with your music. You're not going to put all your sounds in one specific place. You're going to put some to the right, left, front, back, top right, top left. If you listen to music like this and you think about your music like this, it will improve your mixes by a lot. So let's go in the mix and show you how. Tip number 1. So think of the volume fader as a front to back control. You can use the volume fader to move sounds to the front of your mix or move them to the back of your mix. Let me show you how. So I'm going to solo the snare. As I move this volume fader up, notice how the sound moves to the front of the mix or the front of your speakers. As I move the volume down, notice how the sound moves to the back of the mix or the back of your speakers or headphones. Watch this. Okay, so now you notice when I move the volume up, the snare moved to the front of the mix. And when I move the volume down, the snare moved to the back of the mix or the back of your speakers or headphones. Now, let me do this in the mix so you can see how it sounds with all of the instruments playing. So notice that in the mix, when I move the snare's volume up, the sound moves to the front of the mix, in front of all the other sounds. And when I move the snare's volume down, the sound moves to the back of the mix, behind all the other sounds. You can use the volume fader to move sounds in different parts of your mix. Some sounds could be sitting up front in the front seats. Some sounds could be sitting in the middle seats. Some sounds could be sitting in the back seats. Tip number 2. Think of the panning knob as a separation control. You can get clarity in your mix by moving some of the sounds from the middle of your mix to the far right or the far left or anywhere in between. Most of the time, the sounds that occupy the middle of your speakers are the kick, the snare, the bass, and the vocal. Let's go in the mix so I can show you how panning can create separation in your mix. So this conga sound is panned to the left in the final mix, but right now I have it panned to the center to show you how you can get separation by panning your sounds. So to be able to hear the conga a little more clearly and hear the notes, every hit a little more clearly, I chose to pan it to the left to give it more separation from the middle, because at the end of the day, there's going to be a vocal there also, so it's going to be even more covered or more muddy. Check this out. As I pan it, notice how it gets way more clear and it sticks out way more once I start panning it to the left. notice that when I pan the conga to the left, now you can hear each hit of the percussion, and it's way more clear, stands out from the rest of the mix, and you can pick out the sound way easier. I'll switch it from the center and to the left so you can hear the difference. There you go. That's how you can get separation in your mix by panning. Tip number 3. Think of EQ as a volume control, but for specific frequencies. Remember in tip number 1, I told you that volume control can help you move sounds from the front of the mix to the back of the mix, and from the back of the mix to the front of the mix. Think of EQ as the same thing, except EQ moves specific frequencies from the back of the mix to the front of the mix, and from the front of the mix to the back of the mix. Before I show you how to do this, I want to actually share with you a trick that I wish I was taught as soon as I started making music, of how to train your ears to hear all the frequency ranges in a mix. Watch this. So this is an EQ plugin right here, right? To the left, you have the low frequencies. To the middle, you have the mid frequencies. And to the right, you have the high frequencies. When you listen to your speakers, it's very similar. Literally, at the bottom of your speakers are all the low frequency sounds, and the mids are all the mid frequency sounds, and to the top of your speakers or headphones are all the high frequency sounds. Watch as I pitch this snare up. You're going to notice that the sound moves up in frequency, and when I start to pitch the snare down, you're going to notice that the sound moves down in frequency, but it also moves up in the speakers and down in the speakers. Watch this. Notice that the sound is now to the top of your speakers because the pitch has moved up and the frequency has moved up. Now watch as I pitch it down. Notice that the sound is now at the bottom of your speakers. So anytime you want to hear a specific frequency range when you're listening to a mix, or when you're analyzing a mix or analyzing one of your favorite songs, all you have to do is focus your attention to the zone of where the sound you're looking for is. If you want to really pay attention to the bass, just focus your eyes. I tend to focus my eyes and my ears to the bottom of my speakers or the bottom of my headphones, and then I can pick out all the bass sounds. If I want to hear all the high frequencies, I tend to focus my eyes and my ears to the top of the speakers or headphones, and I can hear all the high frequencies. The same with the mids. If I want to hear all the things that are going on in the mids of a mix, I tend to focus my eyes and my ears to the mids of my speakers, and then I can hear everything going on in the mid frequencies. So that's a cool tip and a cool trick to train your ear to hear all frequency ranges. Okay, so now that I've shown you how to be able to hear the different frequency ranges in a mix, I'm going to show you how an EQ is the same as the volume control for frequencies. So let's look at this main key sound. Notice that when I play it back, it's a lot of bass frequencies in the sound. But I can use the EQ, the volume control for frequencies, to push some of the bass frequencies back into the mix to where only the mid frequencies stand out and the bass frequencies will be pushed back in the mix, because this is going to clear up space for the bass in the beat. Watch this. Notice that when I started rolling off the lows, and cutting out the lows from the sound, the bass frequency started moving back in the mix. That's because EQ is a volume control for frequencies. So when I started rolling off the bass frequencies moved back. I'm going to show you this one more time so you can tune your ears to the bass frequencies and see how they move back as I roll off the frequencies. Watch it again. So if you like the tips that I shared, smash that subscribe button, hit the like button, and head over to the comments and tell me which tip was the most helpful to you. Once again, it's your guy Buggy Ocran, and you're here for the first episode of In the Mix. Yeah.